I bought my house in the summer of 2015 with a 25-year variable rate mortgage, and 8 years later, in June of this year, I finally paid off that mortgage. In this video, I'm going to cover why I did it, how I did it, and why lenders hate it. First, the why. In 2022, the average loan balance for a first mortgage was $323,000 with a 30-year term. Assuming you do nothing but make regular payments, it will take you 30 years to pay off this loan. And the typical first-time home buyer is 33 years old, which means that they will be 63 by the time the home is paid off. If you are in this situation, think about all the different major life events that can happen during that time. Kids, health issues, parents getting old, and to top it off, it's not like jobs are that secure anymore either. Knowing all of this, would you want to be stuck with a 30-year loan? That was the question I asked myself, which spurred me to come up with a game plan to pay off my loan as soon as possible. So now on to how I did it. There are 3 methods I used, and I'll show them in increasing order of savings. Method number 1, converting to biweekly payments. When you set up a mortgage, most lenders will give you different payment frequency options like monthly, weekly, or biweekly. The most common option is monthly, which means 12 payments in a year. But what if you could increase the number of payments in a year? If you chose to pay biweekly, you'll be making 26 payments in a year, which is 1 more than the number of payments you would make by choosing the monthly option. So you'll be paying down your principal just a little bit faster. I did the math to show the impact this action can have. For example, on a 30-year fixed rate loan at 7% for an amount of say $350,000, if you did nothing but make scheduled monthly payments, it would take you 30 years to pay off the loan. And in that time, you would have paid $496,000 in interest. Simply switching to bi-weekly payments reduces the loan term to just under 25 years and $388,000 of total interest paid. Now, that's still a lot of money, but it's also a 22% reduction. Method number 2, paying extra each month. I was allowed to increase my scheduled monthly payments by up to 100% per the terms and conditions of my loan. For example, if I was paying $1,000 a month, I could increase the payment up to $2,000 a month. And the best part about this method is that the extra payment went straight towards paying down the principal. Let's redo the math to see the impact of this action. By doubling up the monthly payments, the loan is paid off in just under 9 years, and you only pay $125,000 in total interest, which is a fourth of the interest paid under regular payments. Obviously, I couldn't fully double up my payments every month because I didn't have that sort of cash laying around. But it did get me into the habit of saving up extra cash whenever possible to add to the scheduled payment. Finally, method number 3, making lump sum payments. Each year, my lender allowed a lump sum payment of up to 15% of the original principal borrowed. And just like the previous method, the lump sum was applied directly against the principal balance. Let's redo the math to show just how big of an impact this method would have. Using the same 30-year fixed rate loan, making lump sum payments of 15% each year reduced the loan term to just under 6 years and only $82,000 of total interest paid. That's a reduction of more than 80%. And the ultimate scenario would be a combination of all 3 methods. Suppose you switch to a bi-weekly payment frequency, double up each payment, and make lump sum payments every single year. The 30-year loan would be gone in just under 4 years and only $60,000 of interest paid, which is absolutely insane. Over the course of the 8 years that it took for me to pay down my loan, I used a combination of these 3 methods to chip away large chunks. I never had enough cash to fully double up my payments or make full 15% lump sum payments, but every bit of cash I could scrounge together and any bonus I got at work went straight to paying off the loan. Now let's look at the lender side of the equation. To a lender, the best customer is someone who pays on time, every time, and does nothing else. When you start making lump sum payments or doubling up payments, they lose out on their primary source of income, which is interest. So understandably, they hate it, which is why they often put penalties on lump sum payments and other restrictions in the terms and conditions of their loans. So a word of caution, before you try any of these methods, check with your lender to see if you are even allowed. The last thing you want is being charged a penalty for being offside on the terms and conditions of your loan. As you can tell, I love these methods. They are simple steps that translate to massive savings of both time and money. But it gets even better. Using the ultimate scenario as a starting point, let's take all the loan payments you no longer need to make and invest it in the stock market. If you invested in an index fund that tracks, let's say, the S&P 500, and the S&P 500 has a historical average annual return of 10%, you would have a nice little retirement nest egg worth approximately $3.2 million. And the best part of it all is that during that entire time, your house was free and clear of any debt. Now, you could argue that these are hypothetical calculations and that the way I've presented the premise is maybe clinical and numbers driven. And that's a fair argument. So let me plead my case from a different perspective. On the day I paid off the loan, I felt a giant weight lifted off my chest. My anxiety levels dropped. And since then, my mood has generally been up, and I find it takes a lot more to get me down. It helps that every time I see my monthly bank statement, there is one less large financial obligation. It feels like everything is coming together for me, which makes me feel more confident about myself and the future. It's like the puzzle pieces of my life are falling into place. So hopefully I've convinced you on the merits of paying off your loan fast. If you disagree or have different views on what I've said, please leave them in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.